Morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to be joined this morning on the stage with our DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, Angie Salazar, who's the acting director of the Office of Refugee Resettlement at HHS, Tyson Duva from the Department of Justice Criminal Division, and our U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Ohio, David Tepfer. Also, John Condon, the Acting Associate Director of HSI. So thanks, everybody, for being with us today. So for years, open border policies threatened the security of our nation and put countless lives at risk. Under President Trump's leadership, the Department of Justice is working alongside HHS and DHS to secure the border and protect American communities. There's a lot of ways that we do this. It includes punishing those who exploited the system and smuggled unaccompanied children across the border during the prior administration. More than 475,000 unaccompanied children entered the United States during the Biden administration. 475,000. Over 300,000 cannot be accounted for at the end of 2024. The way that this happened was typically because the criminals calling themselves sponsors trafficked these children to the border, usually committing fraud to do so. And oftentimes the children were abused, assaulted, and certainly exploited. In some cases, individuals would sponsor multiple children, which required them to lie to government personnel and on government forms, claiming they were close relatives when in fact they were not. They would use fake or stolen identities and make other false claims during the application process in order to obtain custody of the children. I think I'm stating the obvious that when government fails to protect our borders, it is the most vulnerable who suffer. And this department and this administration has zero tolerance for unlawful activity and is committed to protecting children who suffered the consequences of open borders. Today, we are announcing the indictments of 3 individuals: Maritza Kawik Koch, her brother, Carlos Agustin Kawik Koch, and Gladys Marina Call Chen. This was out of the Northern District of Ohio. All 3 are illegal aliens from Guatemala who allegedly took part in a wide-ranging conspiracy to smuggle more than a dozen children into the United States by scamming the system and exploiting the loopholes created by the last administration. This is one example, one indictment, but it is not unique. There are over 15,500 super sponsor cases that we have identified along with DHS. And again, these super sponsor cases are when somebody sponsors more than 3 children, unrelated, and they're unaccompanied minors that come in the United States. I also want to announce today from the same district in Ohio, the Northern District, the sentencing of another criminal illegal alien who was convicted, also from Guatemala. He was a 27-year-old man who came to the United States, smuggled in a 14-year-old child by submitting false paperwork and lying on the forms, claiming to be her brother, proceeded to sexually assault this young woman. And these 2 cases, while only 2, help explain how what was going on is really the stuff of nightmares. Now, these charges brought by the Department of Justice show the important partnership between HHS and DHS and with the Department of Justice. All of us are going after those who illegally brought children to this country. And again, these are dangerous and lonely paths from wherever they're coming into the United States, and many of them have had heinous crimes committed against them. So leading and supporting the Department of Justice's nationwide effort against UAC-related crimes is Joint Task Force Alpha. The task force is a highly successful partnership between the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security, And obviously, we use investigative support from the FBI and other agencies, including HHS and their Office of Inspector General. Their Joint Task Force Alpha's mission is to dismantle human smuggling and human trafficking rings throughout the Americas. So this is as is obvious from the numbers, this is a vast problem, but it's something that we're extraordinarily focused on and will remain focused on until it's completely fixed, addressed, and remedied. Some other things that the Department of Justice is doing to combat human trafficking. We have directed every U.S. Attorney's Office that they must pursue all viable charges related to UAC sponsor fraud, all available immigration violations, and any other crimes involving unaccompanied minors, such as labor or sex trafficking, aggravated identity theft, or alien smuggling. Every U.S. Attorney's Office in this country has a designated UAC coordinator, which helps streamline communication with law enforcement agencies and facilitate the prosecution of defendants involved in trafficking UACs. The criminal division is led by Tyson Duva, who's with me on stage. The criminal division works closely with U.S. Attorney's offices and Joint Task Force Alpha to make sure that all the resources are brought to bear on the most egregious and important cases in this space. We will not accept half measures when it comes to securing the border, protecting American lives, and saving children from exploitation. In this administration, as President Trump says almost every day, because it's true, the border will be secure, innocent children will be protected, and sponsors should be properly vetted, and those who seek to commit crimes by way of our borders will face justice. So again, I thank everybody for being here this morning. I would like to ask Secretary Mullen to come and say a few words now. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. And first of all, I want to thank the Trump administration and President Trump's leadership in going after the worst of the worst. You know, I tell people that I haven't quit smiling since I've been Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, but I have to take that back, because when we start digging into these cases and you start hearing the absolute horrific things that took place underneath the Biden administration, under true neglect at best and criminal at worst, to allow 450,000 kids to go missing throughout this country. President Trump has made it a point to go find these kids. And because of our partnership with HHS and DOJ, Department of Homeland Security, truly using the best of the best, which the Democrats sometimes want to demonize, because a lot of times this is ICE, this is HSI, this is CBP. These individuals that the Democrats seem to want to defund, but because of President Trump, we finally funded them for 3 years. We're able to push and go find these kids. We found 146,000 kids so far. 146,000 kids. We still have nearly 300,000 missing. We're investigating reports to where some of these kids claim that they were raped 600 to 700 times. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have kids, if you don't have kids. I don't care if you're a liberal, you're independent, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. If you can't stand for law enforcement to go find these kids, who are you? Who are you? Every leader should understand what's going on. And do you know where we're finding the most of them? Sanctuary cities. Because they know they're safe. That's why they're called sanctuary cities. Because of President Trump's leadership, we're going into those sanctuary cities. We have mayors like Mandami in New York who want to say you're not welcome. As a mayor, he knows what's happening on the streets. He knows who he's harboring, and at this point in abating. By saying that we can't go operate, we're going to. We're going to go find the worst of the worst. We're going to rescue as many kids as we possibly can. We're going to enforce our nation's laws, and we're going to right the wrongs that the Biden administration turned a blind eye to. It's because of President Trump's leadership. It's horrific to what's happening right in our own country because of 4 years of a blind eye that allowed unvetted sponsors to come pick up 450,000 kids on our borders, knowing their reports, while the Biden administration was in office, their own reports was reporting that over a third of the females, regardless of age, was sexually assaulted before they made it to their border. They knew it was human traffickers that were trafficking these young kids to the border, and then they were unvetting or refusing to vet the so-called sponsors, and there was 0 wellness checks. And they want to claim that Republicans, because we're enforcing the laws, is inhumane somehow? What's inhumane about taking care of our kids? As a father of 6 with 3 young girls, I will do whatever I have to do. I will move heaven and hell to go find these kids. And guess what? The same individuals that the Democrats want to demonize every single day, which is our law enforcement, is out there doing that job. And I am proud as I can possibly be to sit here as secretary to say, because of our relationship with DOJ, with HHS, and this administration, we're going to find you. And those that preyed on these young kids, we're going to bring you to justice. We're going to charge you. And we're going to work side by side with Todd Blanch and DOJ to make sure you pay for your crimes. So I want to thank President Trump. I want to thank Secretary Kennedy. I want to thank Acting Attorney General Todd Blanch for helping us fight against the worst of the worst and bringing them to justice.
Thank you very much, Secretary Mullen. Angie, you want to come and say words?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Angie Salazar. I'm the Acting Director of Office of Refugee Resettlement. Today's announcement confirms what we already knew, that during the Biden era, human smuggling networks exploited the immigration system and open border policies to profit and further their criminal enterprise at the expense of vulnerable children. You've heard the scale of the problem, over 450,000. I just want to emphasize, those children were all referred to ORR. That is an average of more than 300 children per day for 4 years. By law, ORR is responsible for the care and placement of unaccompanied children. In principle, that responsibility should mirror the standards of the American foster care system, which demands rigorous background checks, vetting of caregivers, financial stability verification, and home visits before a child is turned over. Instead, these children were released to adults who were rarely seen in person. They were sent to addresses that were not visited or verified. The children were shuffled by contractors through airports and delivered to unvetted sponsors. In 2024, the DHS Office of Inspector General reported that nearly 300,000 of those children could not be accounted for. We continue to hear claims that this was merely a paperwork issue. It was not. When the government lacks reliable contact information or an effective means of tracking children, that is a child welfare failure. ORR suspects that over 40 unaccompanied children are linked to this organization via aliases, documents, or addresses. And this is exactly why ORR reforms are necessary. Under the strong leadership of Secretary Kennedy and President Trump, ORR has reviewed our data and identified over 81,000 addresses that were used repeatedly to take children. Over 76,000 instances where mandatory safety checks were missing. Over 97,000 cases that lacked background checks. And instances where fingerprint and DNA and human trafficking risks were either not required, ineffective, or applied in an inconsistent manner. The Trump administration has taken immediate action to find these children and close the loopholes. You've heard to date, we've located with Department of Justice and DHS approximately 146,000. Some have been located that were sexually assaulted, others deceased, and some committing heinous crimes. So what has changed? Today, ORR requires valid identity documents, fingerprint background checks. We identify repeat sponsors. We require DNA testing when family relationship is claimed. We also verify income, and we most importantly, we physically verify the homes, the addresses, and we meet with sponsors in person. And for the first time, ORR is in lockstep with our law enforcement partners to identify bad actors and protect children. We are prioritizing child safety over placement speed and modernizing our systems to strengthen oversight and accountability. Replacement speed and modernizing our systems to strengthen oversight and accountability. Every child referred to ORR's custody deserves protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Attorney General Blanch and Secretary Mullen and Acting Director Salazar. I'm Tyson Duva, Assistant Attorney General, and I run the Criminal Division. The Criminal Division is at the forefront of some of the department's most important initiatives, including going after people who abuse and exploit our most vulnerable, our children who arrive at our borders alone. In the Northern District of Ohio, which is under the leadership of United States Attorney David Tepfer, our offices are partnering together to announce the charges that Acting Attorney General Blanch described against 3 Guatemalan nationals and the sentencing of the 4th, all living in this country illegally and all tied to smuggling of unaccompanied alien children into the United States. And I'm going to talk about those cases a little more specifically. Maritza Koek was arrested in Ohio for leading an alien smuggling network and submitting multiple fraudulent sponsorship applications for unaccompanied alien children. Maritza's brother, Carlos Koek was also indicted for his role in that conspiracy for smuggling, including for one of the children that Maritza helped smuggle into the United States. Another, Gladys Marina Kalchen, who was herself fraudulently sponsored and smuggled into the country as an unaccompanied child, now as an adult is charged with doing the same thing. We also secured a prison sentence yesterday for Juan TLG, who lied to obtain custody of a 14-year-old girl and then sexually assaulted her. He will serve a total of 10 years in prison based on his state and federal convictions. These cases tell a story. First, about the crimes that people commit to come to the United States illegally, the dangers and risks associated with that often long journey, including tragic consequences of vulnerable children being subjected to smugglers who exploit them, often sexually and physically. And second, how criminals use a child protection program to commit fraud. In the Maritza Koek case, between December 2020 and October 2023, Maritza submitted sponsorship applications using others' identities, falsely claiming them to be children of close relatives to obtain custody of them. She used other people's birth certificates, Guatemalan consular ID cards to deceive ORR, even submitting photographs of herself holding someone else's ID. Several of those applications were successful, causing the ORR to release children to her care. This was a business. Payments were deposited into her and her co-conspirators' bank accounts. 2 weeks ago, agents searched Maritza's residence in Cleveland, Ohio, and found Maritza and 8 other adults and 4 minor children living there. Nearly all the adults were illegal aliens. 4 had themselves been unaccompanied children. This case highlights the fraud and abuse perpetrated by illegal aliens and exposes how this government program was manipulated to bring children to the United States and deliver them to unvetted people. Juan TLG is a separate case. He was sentenced yesterday, and those convictions stem from alien smuggling, making false statements, and aggravated identity theft. In September 2023, Xi arranged for a coyote to have a Guatemalan family's 14-year-old girl illegally enter the United States. He submitted a sponsorship application and lied that the girl was his sister. He was entrusted with her care and sexually assaulted her multiple times. Xi told her the sex was repayment for bringing her to the United States, 14 years old. For Xi's state and federal convictions, he will spend the next 10 years in prison. Since day one of this administration, Joint Task Force Alpha, led by the Criminal Division's Human Rights and Special Prosecutions Section, has stepped up to the challenge and quickly assembled a team of prosecutors to work with ORR and HSI and other investigative partners in this area. The cases announced today are just a snapshot of the important work, and there are others. In Louisiana, we convicted an illegal alien from Guatemala who submitted a fraudulent sponsorship application, falsely claiming the child was his brother. In Georgia, we indicted 2 illegal aliens from Honduras who targeted a child online, lured her to the United States, and filed a fraudulent sponsorship application to gain custody of her. In Kansas, we indicted another illegal alien from Honduras and a Kansas woman for fraudulently seeking to obtain custody of a UAC. The charges and sentence announced today are the work of law enforcement cooperation, HHS, OIG, HSI, FBI, and our partners at HHS ORR. I would like to again recognize U.S. Attorney David Tepfer for his leadership and excellent partnership on these cases charged in this district, and the prosecutors and agents on the line who handled the cases, did the complaints, brought them to grand jury, and handled the sentencings. There is much to be done, and under the leadership of Acting Attorney General Blanch and Secretary Mullen, we will do the work. Thank you.
Thanks, Tyson. Okay, so we'll take a couple questions on what we're here for today. Go ahead.
So I have an on-topic and an off-topic. The on-topic is, first of all, is this problem still widespread, or has it been completely stopped? Secondly, you said you located 146,000 of them, and 300,000 are still out there. What's their fate? Are they being deported, or are they being allowed to stay in the country?
So let me, I don't know, Secretary, you want to address the first question, and then I can handle the next one.
So on the 146,000 we found with their sponsors, though some of them were just wellness checks that we went through that were maybe not vetted correctly, but the child was okay, the person was in the country legally, we were able to check that off. Other ones were criminal, so those that were exporting the children were charging. DOJ is helping with that. Some were in labor trafficking rings, some were in sex trafficking rings. Some we couldn't maybe prove that either the child was being utilized in that way because the child was refusing to speak. We have either found legal sponsors for the child and then have gone through the process of deporting the individuals. The vast majority of the 146 were obtained illegally, the vast majority. And so charges are still moving forward with those. We can't, I'm not able to release the exact number of the individuals that were the children that were being exported and trafficked. As the gentleman who spoke right before me, some of the individuals now that were brought over children are now adults. The ones that are here are adults. We're working on the process of sending them back.
And so is this widespread? And then I have a second question. Still widespread.
Go ahead.
Is this still a widespread problem at the border? And then I have a second off topic.
Whether it's, well, I mean, it's not widespread or spread. I mean, I think it's pretty, I don't think there's any dispute. The borders have been closed to folks that are not allowed in, and it's been that way for over a year. But yes, we are still dealing with a crisis in this country from what happened for 4 years. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have you all here today is to remind folks of the crisis that was created that we are still dealing with. When you talk about numbers and you say 450,000, all right, and then you say 300,000 are still unaccompanied, are still unaccounted for, at least partially. And then when you look at the great work we've done in a year, 100+ thousand, that's all great, but there's still a tremendous amount of work left to do. I mean, that's, and will we be finished in a year? No. I mean, this is a problem that was created for a long time. It's hard to find. I mean, what Acting Director Salazar talked about is true. Like you have all the, over 81,000 addresses in this country had multiple unaccompanied minors associated with those addresses. And that's the crisis we're dealing with.
And on the UFC fight,
I'm not going to talk about the UFC fight. We're just
Would you
here to talk about
block the
this.
judge's order if he does order that it be blocked?
I'm not going to talk about the UFC fight. We're here just to talk about why we're here today. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just a clarifying question on that. Why would children not be eligible for U or T visas even if they've aged out? And second, if I can, are there still efforts to expand child and family detention for processing these people or these migrant children?
Who wants to answer the first question? You answer the first question? Go ahead.
Yes, if we identify that they're victims of crime, which is what the 26 crimes under the U visa, or human trafficking, right, held against their will for commercial sex or forced labor, they will still be eligible, of course.
So those people aren't being, or those children, or if they've aged out, they're not being deported?
Even if they've aged out, if you're, like the laws here, if you are a victim of those crimes and law enforcement certifies them as such, then they're entitled to those.
Other questions?
Oh, sorry, and the second on
Yeah,
detention.
what's the second question?
Are there still efforts to expand child and family detention?
To expand child and family detention? I don't know if that's, Mark.
So we have, we only have one family detention center right now, and it's in Texas, because of President Trump's secure border. And we have 0 coming into the country illegally at this point. The detention center is not even close to being at capacity. So we're, those that are being held there, we're looking for placements and trying to get them back to the country where they came from and enter the country legally from.
Just on 0 people crossing the border, the SABRE program run by counties in Arizona through California, they are saying that they're still seeing unapprehended crossers. The apprehension rate is 33% there, so people are still crossing the border.
So when we start talking about the 0 entries, there's no one that we are apprehending that we're allowing into the country. I'm sure there are some gotaways because we're still building the wall to secure the border, but that number is extremely small. We went from having tens of thousands a week, sometimes in a day, to single-digit numbers. But we aren't able to see that. That's why we're building the wall. That's why President Trump has made it a priority to get the wall built from the Pacific to the Gulf of America. We will have the primary wall completed probably this time next year, and we'll just have very small corridors for individuals that's going to be trying to enter the country legally, where we can allow them to enter if they truly have a claim or have the right paperwork in place. But we are allowing no individuals to claim asylum to come into this country unless they can truly prove by legal statute what they have to require, not because they say the correct things on a handwritten card, but prove that they have an asylum need.
Thank you.
Secretary Mullen. Thank you very much. Question for the Attorney General and question for Secretary Mullen. Attorney General, I heard Secretary Mullen call this true neglect at best. I'm wondering, what is the evidence that government officials knowingly participated? In other words, are you alleging that the previous administration knowingly approved sponsor placements despite knowing there was evidence of fraud? Or are you alleging failures in screening and oversight? And can you just talk about the evidence that might support that distinction and be specific about how it applies to a certain number of cases?
So I don't think it can be disputed that the last administration knew this was happening. I mean, putting aside the public reporting about it at the time for many years during the Biden administration, we didn't go and hire forensic accountants or rock star federal agents to find out the data we're showing you. It's data that the government had and that government possessed. And so there were individuals occupying positions of leadership in this country that knew this was happening and either, and this is what Secretary Mullen was talking about, either didn't care, encouraged it, or a little bit of both. I don't think that that can be disputed. I don't think you're going to get DHS officials from the last administration telling you, oh my gosh, we're shocked. Wait, you're telling me there were hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors? Oh my God, I had no idea. That's not true. Of course I knew. And so I don't, and when you talk about the outrage that is hopefully coming through from what Secretary Mullen said and what I'm saying now, it should be outrage amongst everybody that this happened. And it did happen. And so whether somebody closed their eyes to it and whether somebody just, was negligent, or whether it was something much more intentional and part of a policy that was in place to literally just have open borders, including unaccompanied children who were being abused and trafficked, that's not for me to answer. But I will tell you that this is not something that we had to dig far and deep to uncover. I mean, we've been talking about it since January 20th, and we'll continue talking about it. But yeah, so I don't look. I'm not indicting the past leadership right here on this podium. But you also cannot ignore what was an incredible dereliction of duty at best.
To say that it was encouraged, though, is quite a charge. I mean, what evidence do you have of that?
What evidence of what?
To say that it was encouraged, this behavior, is quite a
Well,
charge.
you can insert whatever word you want. I said encourage. If you know there's a problem and you're in a position of leadership to stop it and you don't stop it, what word should I use? I mean, I use the word encouraged. If it isn't as if this was a single day problem. You have a situation that happened over a number of years. They knew it was happening. It was brought to their attention it was happening, and they didn't do anything to stop it. As a matter of fact, when you look at the end of 2024, and there were 300,000, like you just think in your mind that number and that number of young children, and then we had no idea where they were in this country. I mean, I continue to use the words encourage. So.
Well, and I want to give you an opportunity to respond to that and answer that. I also want to ask you specifically about some of the sanctuary cities as well as where these kids are coming from, if you can be more specific about some of the problem cases. I also do have an off-topic question, but go ahead.
So I don't think I need to explain what I said any more than what I said. It's negligent at best and criminal at worst. When you're not taking care of the kids that you're entrusted to take care of, negligence can turn into criminal. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to go after the individuals, but you can't, as acting Attorney General said, you can't just simply turn a blind eye to it and say it wasn't happening. You can't even deny that. Everybody in this room knows it was happening. It was being reported at the time it was happening. And there was no outrage, and no one tried to hold these people accountable. And kids now have been paying for it. They've been getting raped over and over and over again because this previous administration chose not to enforce our nation's laws and protect the most vulnerable. That is shameful.
Lastly, I want to ask about immigration policies that are already shaping the World Cup. At least one referee from Somalia and one Iraqi team staff member were denied entry at U.S. airports in recent days, and dozens of fans have been denied.
Did you call it politics?
No.
What'd you say? I forget how you started that question.
Policies.
Yeah, policies are, we're not going to allow people that have criminal or maybe perceived to have criminal ties to come into this country. I don't care what your situation is. I'm not going to get into why we denied this individual, but there's a reason why this person was denied. Now, the left media wants to go out there and report and say this guy's a victim of, because we're, anti-Somalia. No, we're not. We work closely with FIFA. And the administration on a regular basis. We talk to the FIFA and their directors constantly. Anybody that was denied, we made the case for and showed them why they were denied. Now, to get into the specifics of it, I'm not getting into the specifics of it. But Iran chose that was a difficult path. If there was any country we wasn't going to allow in here, Iran would probably be the reason why we wouldn't allow them in here. But we did, and we worked closely with the individuals with restrictions. And so there was more than just these two, there was multiple individuals throughout. We have a World Cup here. We got a lot of countries that doesn't exactly have access to the United States, and we did a phenomenal job on getting as many people cleared as we could, but some people just can't clear. And that's just the way it works with getting a visa to come to this great country. Yes.
Thank you. How does the partnership with law enforcement that you've described change your ability to find and protect these children? And then secondly, how many of these children have you been able to reunite with their families in foreign countries?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the 287G program, which is the greatest partnership we can have. It's shameful that we have governors like in Virginia and governors in New York and governors in California and other sanctuary states that are refusing to allow their law enforcement to join into the 287G program, where we simply go after the worst of the worst. And we say to local law enforcement and to state enforcement that if you will help us, you don't have to enforce, just if you run across these individuals, keep them. We'll pay you for your time. We'll even give you some of the equipment, and we'll pay for some of the equipment. Just hold them, and we'll come pick them up. And we have sanctuary states now that are popping up, and like New Jersey, that are saying, no, it's against the law for any state agency or any local agency to join in the 287G program to enforce our nation's laws? I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest with you. Why wouldn't you want to take the worst of the worst off your streets? Why would we allow it? Let me just give you one statistic. 50% of all the murders that's happened in Fairfax County are by illegals. 41 individuals in Tennessee have been killed this year by illegals, well, in the last 12 months. Why? Why would any politician say that we wouldn't want to get those individuals off our streets? Why wouldn't they want to partner with DHS and the 287G program to help rid this type of activity out of our country and out of your communities? And I can't make sense of stupidity sometimes. We allow political theater to get in the way of actual law enforcement. And all we're saying is let's protect our streets. And let's make sure that our kids can go play in our yards, that you guys can go on a run in the mornings. You that live in Washington, D.C., you know what it was like 2 years ago? What's it like today? Can you go run the streets? Can you go run the Capitol and feel safe? Could you have done that 18 months ago? No. And you know that. But because of President Trump's strong push for law enforcement, our communities and our cities are becoming safe again. Why wouldn't any elected official want the same in their backyard?
You spoke about Mayor Mondami and sanctuary cities. How do you envision the operations from your department in New York or other sanctuary cities as compared to what happened in Minnesota or California prior to you being secretary?
When you take somebody like Mondami, who is just this radical socialist, that's anti-law enforcement, anti-police, it's shameful because NYPD is awesome. They're phenomenal to work with. They have the best crowd procedures. They have the best law enforcement agency. I'd put them up against just about any city around the country. And they have a pride about them of doing so. But you got a mayor that's not allowing them to do their job. And it's shameful. All these guys in the NYPD, they just want to go to work. They want to do something that they feel like they were called to do. And they're great at it. But they got a leader that's handcuffing them. And hopefully people of New York will wise up and get a true leader in there in a few years.
Operations look different than Minnesota or California?
Well, if we had partnership with NYPD, we could clean that city up in 30 days. I mean that sincerely. We could clean that up with President Trump's leadership and us flexing with the ability we have. We've seen it happen in Memphis. We've seen it happen in New Orleans. We've seen it happen right here in Washington, D.C. We know how to do it. We just got to have, politics set aside and let law and order be the mainstream of why we decide we're going to do what we're going to do.
Secretary, I have one on topic and then one off topic. You said you and the mayor don't get along, and you're expressing concern about some of the governors and sanctuary states, as you call them. What are you willing to do to bridge that gap?
I'll work with anybody that's wanting to work with us. When I got sworn into office, I said, I don't care if you got a blue state, blue city, red city. I don't care what it is. I'll work as hard to protect my backyard as I will to protect yours. I don't see color when we start talking about law enforcement. What I see is criminals, and we're going after them. We've reached out multiple times through this whole FIFA, and we can't even get past the first person at the desk. So I'd sit down and talk to him anytime. I don't really think we're going to get anywhere. I think President Trump tried that. And you see the way he treated President Trump. I mean, President Trump literally brought him into the Oval Office, let him stand beside him, tried to actually give the olive branch and say, listen, we can set our political difference together, but President Trump loves New York City. He loves the Knicks, too, obviously. And the fact that the way the mayor treated him once he left the Oval Office will tell you what type of man he is.
How many of these,
Mr. Attorney General.
81,000 that you've got identified there, how many of those have criminal cases that you're trying to pursue?
I'll let our acting Attorney General answer that.
What was the question about how many are?
1,000 addresses. How many do you know have committed crimes? The people there have committed crimes?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but just it's not as the point of that number isn't that there are 81,000 criminals. It's just a sheer number. So some of them, it might make sense why there's 3 unaccompanied minors that are not related in one house, maybe, depending on the circumstance. So it's not that every single one is a crime, but when you heard what the work that is being done, it's as simple as a site visit or simple as a forms check to make sure that everything's in order. So for some of those 81,000, yes, I'm sure it's fine. For some of them, there are horrible crimes being committed. And so we announced a couple charges today. Tyson talked about ongoing cases that I think, joint that we're working on. It is a big priority in every U.S. Attorney's office. And so I think that I expect you'll continue to see the results of that. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, are you seeing any evidence of election fraud in California?
Don't panic. Don't panic. We're back. We're back. Oh, man. Sorry about that, guys. I've been, I was on the road, as you may have known or may have seen. There we go. I'm a little Trumpy today, a little orange. I was still taking care of business, and I figure I had enough time to finish this live. Apparently, I missed it by a few minutes. I mistimed it. But let's go ahead and talk about this stream that we just watched. One of the things that I noticed with people on the left specifically, it's that there is always people that want to come in to conservative channels, MAGA channels like mine, Make America Great Again. For some reason, is some sort of a curse to them. To me, Make America Great just means stand up for American values, secure the border. It's not really all about politics. It is about law and order. We stand up for border security for quite a few reasons, but two major reasons is for national security, and number two, to make sure that innocent children and women are not trafficked, abused, or hurt. Many people making the illegal journey to the United States of America go through a lot of hardship. Many do get raped on the way here. Many get killed. You don't know because you never experienced it. I had an uncle that died, got beat up, and all he was doing was just, buying buses and taking them down to Honduras so he can sell them. The road is hard, whether you're traveling legal or illegally. But the fact is that many families, they sell their properties, they sell their houses for a fake dream. The American dream is not to come to the United States of America illegally. That's not the American dream. The American dream can only be achieved by coming to this country legally. Because the American dream does not mean we break the law. We call it the American dream because this is the land of opportunity where we can buy a house, used to, with a white picket fence. And men would have great jobs. And even that is being taken away from us. Now, we've been criminalized? Yeah. We've been criminalized to being hateful people, that we're anti-human rights. And that's not true. It is not true. We watch this live. But this is something that I've been telling you guys for almost a whole year now. I started my channel speaking the truth about immigration. And a lot of people, I think mostly illegal people, illegal immigrants, criminals that are in here in our country up to no good, are the main reason. I know a lot of people that are working. Listen, you can be the most Mexican looking guy. I don't care. I always greet people with kindness. I just walked by a group of Hispanics, a couple of Hondurans in there, a group of Hispanics, and I just, hey, good morning, how are you? Hey, blah, 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 this. I am not prejudiced. I love my people. I will never assume that somebody is illegal. But if somebody was to go in and, for example, let's say, was going to vote, well, I would expect them to show ID. I would expect them to prove that they are American citizens so that they can cast a vote. 450,000 innocent children. You know, I remember when I was over there in North Carolina, I couldn't believe that this was happening, but it was happening. And they would bring. I remember I was playing cards with my friends, people that I stayed with when I was in North Carolina. And they will bring in these Salvadorian girls, cute, nice bodies, beautiful girls. And they would bring them in. And I asked them, I said, can I ask you a question? I said, you're so beautiful. Like, any man would die to want to be with you. I said, why are you doing this? No, I didn't pay for sex. I didn't do anything. Other people did. She says, well, I got to pay my debt. You see, she was smuggled into this country illegally. And now she was pimped to pay out her debt. When you support illegal immigration, that is what you're causing. You are encouraging the bad actors. You are encouraging criminals to do that. When I was living down in California, I know I get around. When I was living down in California, we were at a barbecue with some Mexicans. I had a Mexican girlfriend back then. And the wife of the friend of my girlfriend at that time had just gotten out of jail, serving 5 years in jail for human smuggling. The Mexicans, they just know how to barbecue. Man, we had this barbecue, and they had the hearts and pancreas and liver and all these organs from a pig, I think, or a cow, whatever they were. And we were over there just eating. And she comes out, and they have like 5 children, guys. They have 5 children. And she comes out and says, man, I can make an easy $40,000 right now. And I was like, oh, how's that? She goes, I can go down to Tijuana and bring 3 people over here. illegally? She said, yeah, it's good money. I said, didn't you just get 5 years for doing that? She's like, yeah, but it's good money. It's worth it. Guys, criminals will be criminals. You understand? There are people that make mistakes, sure. But there is people that are just criminals. It is unbelievable. Now, I'm going to share with you my ex account. And I don't mean my ex-girlfriend. I mean my ex account. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because I hope I saved it. I hope I saved it. Let me see. Maybe it's in my. Here we go. Oh yeah, she's still there. No, that's not the one. Let me tell you something. I've been doing it for 30 years. Nope. Okay. Come on, where is it? Come on. Did I put it on my feed? Oh man, I had something to show you. What the hell? This thing updated by itself. Let me go to her page. I'm sure I'll find it. I want to show you a clip.
Which came out this morning. Could that be a
No, I love it.
Okay. I want to show you a clip. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Let me share my screen with you here. And let's make this a little bit. Let me see. Okay, so what I want you to look at is this. This is where we're going to go. All right? But let me finish this. We are not against illegal immigration because we hate migrants. That's stupid. I am a migrant. But I am also a person, an educated person, who believes in respecting the law. I like order. See, I don't like disorder. It drives me nuts. I like order. Every migrant that is looking for a good place to live will always go to that place the right way, legally, with authorization, and then once they actually assimilate in that place, they will fight to continue to enforce the laws that have given them the opportunity to come here and be part of the greatest nation in the world. Some people don't appreciate that. Some people don't appreciate that. So I stand with Secretary Mullen and I will say Attorney General Blanch. You see, when we had Pam Bundy, when we had Christine Noem, things were okay. They were good. They were okay. And the socialist Democrats, the libtards who hate this country, they bitched and complained and they try to throw all this dirt on Pam Bundy and this and that. Of course, you know, they're sexist, this feminist people talking about protecting women and protecting women's rights. Yeah, they're the first ones to condemn the women that work for Trump. That's fantastic how that works. Well, what they didn't realize is, and this is something that I believe myself, what they didn't realize is that they took away a good team so that we can now have a better team. And you can see, I put that on my description for this morning. I normally don't change my description much. Very rarely do I change my description. But I truly believe that President Trump's administration is the greatest, and Blanch and Mullen are just a phenomenal duo. It is just such a breath of fresh air to listen to Mark Wayne "The Rock" Mullen speak the truth. The leftist legacy media, they can fight him. There's nothing they can do about him. He knows how to talk. Patskuli is from India. Ignore that comment. He says BS. He don't even know what I'm saying. He don't speak English. These guys, man. It doesn't matter. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. The reason why it doesn't matter how many facts we give these libtards, the reason why it doesn't matter is because most of them are not even from this country. Most of them are illegal. Most of them are just paid to come and be trolls on the internet. So I don't care. We're still going to continue to do what's right. You know, when we say that California is being cheated by Democrats, the ignorant fools always say, show me some proof. The stupidest freaking thing that I have heard when the proof is right in front of your noses. What else do you need to know to find out that there is fraud being committed? When they are, let me tell you what. I made a couple of notes this morning. Now, I've been up since 4 in the morning. I made this let me read a couple of notes that I wrote while my brain was fresh this morning. You see, the socialist Democrats, they get mad at someone investigating fraud, but they don't care about the fraudsters. Fact. They get mad at someone enforcing the law, but they don't care about the ones breaking the law. They support them. The legislative branch is supposed to make laws. Well, what is the point of making laws if you're going to criminalize us for enforcing them? See, they call us Nazis, and yet they pay the KKK. They call us Nazis, and yet they're voting for a Nazi running for the Senate. They are the Nazi party, and they call Republicans Nazis. The Republican Party, Trump's administration, has been the biggest piggy bank for socialist Democrats, for they manipulate the weak-minded, the gullible, the naive people, and they convince them that Republicans, the conservatives, the ones that believe in God for the most part, they convince these weak-minded people that conservatives are the enemies of this nation. But let's be clear. It is conservatives who keep fighting for justice. Not just for this nation, but for others in the world. You see, the socialist Democrats today, they get mad at the ones trying to make elections more secure. And they allow anybody to vote in our elections. Now, I don't know about you, but that's unconstitutional. It is not racist to ask for an ID and proof of citizenship in order to be able to vote. Given the reason the recent activity of what we call a massive illegal invasion. It's not a migration. It's an illegal migration. We call it a massive illegal invasion. That's right. We ask for voter ID and proof of citizenship to be able to vote in our country. And they call us cheaters. Chuck Schumer says that millions of illegals won't be able to vote because we're asking for proof of citizenship. Well, you're right, 100%. You know what's ironic? Stupid people calling us stupid. Stupid people believe that if I give you an ID that says that my name is Christopher Reeves, and they believe it, this ID is not a legal ID. This is just my gym membership ID. Doesn't even have a picture of me on it. Stupid is, stupid does. Somehow, the socialist Democrats have been able to convince a lot of Americans. Now, they have done this by having millions of illegal immigrants making hateful statements, lying, making up stories. We just watched a live of what our government is doing. They have caught some of them. They were out there lying on their application for papers, holding IDs, convincing the gullible Americans that to come here illegally is a human right. And 450,000 that we know of, innocent children, raped and abused. And the socialist Democrats, instead of joining us, instead of helping us secure the border, instead of helping Americans keep their liberties, they double down. They double down and they don't care about 450,000 innocent children being raped and abused and trafficked. But they care so much about the Epstein files. Epstein files, they say. If you gave a shit about the Epstein files, you will help us fight illegal immigration. You will help us secure the border. You will help us fight against child trafficking. You would help us fight against child pornography in this country. The logic of the socialist Democrats is, where is your proof? They want to see proof. You know what pisses me off about naive people and how stupid they are? They are watching a person shooting and killing somebody. And they still say, allegedly, he killed somebody. I don't know what country, what world you come from, but if I see somebody shooting somebody dead, I will call it as I see it. Murderer. I don't need to say allegedly. I saw you. I saw you commit the crime, so no, there is no allegedly. You did it. So that's the difference between us and them. I don't care about Republican or Democrat. I don't care. I care about Americans. As a matter of fact, I know it sounds very communist of me to say this, but I believe we should just have no parties. No parties. It is causing a division in our country instead of a unity. I know why we have parties, but I'm just saying, we should really just have candidates who say they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and then let's get to vote. Why do we need to go to Republican or Democrat? Why? Why do we got to create an independent party? Why do we got to create another party? For what? The problem is humans. Humans with no convictions and no moral compass. And that means people that don't believe in God, and they don't even believe in law and order. That is a problem. It doesn't matter about the past. What matters is that we learn our lesson and practice that in our present so that we can have a better future. You know, the socialist Democrats, when we tell them, when we tell Americans that the socialist Democrats, the corrupted politicians, are cheating them, are abusing the constitutional rights of the American people so that they stay in power, they think that we're full of shit. Hey, but you know what? Don't worry about it. You guys don't have to worry about cheating because there is no cheating going on. No cheating whatsoever. There's no cheating at all. You know why there's no cheating at all? Ask CNN. CNN says there is no cheating because how stupid is it that you're going to have two Democrat candidates fighting each other? The logic on that. The logic on that. There is no cheating. It's true. Go check out CNN. And this was said from the guy that I like from CNN, the numbers guy, the poll guy. He says it doesn't make sense to think there is cheating because the best candidate that go against Karen Bass-Sura is Pratt. He says it doesn't make sense. Now, in all fairness, he is a poll guy number. He's the numbers guy. He is right. American people should warn Democrats and Republicans fighting for who can serve the country better. But that's not what's happening. I know he means well if he's being honest. The best candidate will be Pratt versus Karen Bass in the finals, so to speak. So to him, it doesn't make sense that they have this other garbage Democrat compete against the other garbage Democrat. Numbers-wise, it doesn't make sense to him, so I believe him. But the fact remains is that every Democrat says there is no cheating because it doesn't make sense. This is what they say. It makes no sense. Now, we see the videos of ballots disappearing, being burnt. They just so happen to be Republican ballots. So tell me, California, it's such a beautiful state. It really is. It is. But there's so much feces on the street that it makes it look ugly. But let me ask you something. California, they brag about all this economy, largest economy. Not in the country, in the world. One of the largest economy. All the technology, the money, all this and all that and all that. And they can't even count some freaking votes in one day? Are you kidding me? Their vote counting, the ballot counting, it's worse than a third world country. How the hell do we think that there is no cheating? And we saw this zombie Democrat out there, that lady that looks like a dead woman with the white hair and this, the rat face. Oh, man, I don't know what her name was. But she says, it takes a long time to vote because we're making sure that we're matching signatures. Is that right, biatch? Is that right? You're going to tell me that all these homeless people that were getting paid to vote, to use other people's ballots, their signature matches the signature of the actual ballot? You're going to tell me that that's exactly what's going on? We're not stupid. America, don't be gullible. Don't be gullible. We have a lot of things that we have to take care of. One of them, illegal immigration. I guarantee you, 100%, if you get rid of every single illegal immigrant indiscriminatorily, if you get rid of every single illegal immigrant in this country, I guarantee you 100% that the economy in the whole United States of America will flourish. You can take that to the bank. Now, in case you were wondering, I got my white privilege card right here. You cannot get one of these if you are illegal. So eat your heart out. Don't hate. Don't hate the messenger. Ah, man, it's like an AC up in here. Woo! Let's go. Yeah, you chumps can't beat me, man. You can't come over here and think that you can own my show. This is my show, baby. We just talk the truth. We speak the truth. We comment the truth. It's what we do. And so far, we've been 100% correct. I would say 99.9%. Brian, what's up? I couldn't say that earlier. Man, I'm telling you, 22 million illegal immigrants will most likely end up in my chat, talking negative, calling me liar, this and that. And then we have the other type of people who have a mental issue, where all they do is walk around down the streets yelling at people, being violent to people. This is the kind of people that Democrats love because they're stupid, because they will vote for them every single time. And if you haven't figured it out by now, Democrats love to stay in power, and they will use any means necessary to stay in power. Now, all the criminals and all the illegal immigrants and those illegal immigrants' sympathizers, they are all going to support them because they have no moral compass. There is a place called Centro de la Raza. It means the center of all races. Governor Bob Ferguson goes over there and talks about how he supports the illegal immigrants. First of all, is a federal crime to harbor felons. It is a federal crime to employ illegal immigrants with no permission to work. That's some good coffee. Hey, he's still your president, sucker. The truth shall set you free. Len, I don't know what country you're from. You're probably from Honduras as well. Our president is fantastic. We have the best president in American history and the best president in the world. He is so great. The whole UK is cheering for Trump. Ireland is cheering for Trump. Venezuela cheers for Trump. That's right. Eat your heart out. You maggots are not worth it. Jay Lopez, another illegal immigrant sympathizer. Let's go. Anybody else? That's right, Rick. I like it. Best president ever. Rush Babe, good morning, sis. Good to see you on here. I figured if I come in earlier, you might show up and say hello. Oh, man. I'm a truth teller. Truth teller is better than a fortune teller. They hate it, don't they? They hate it when I tell the truth. They hate it when I tell the truth. Hey, trolls, why are you on my channel? I want to know. Why are you on my channel? This channel was created only for American citizens. You might get deported if I have a hint that you really might be an illegal immigrant, I am going to deport you from my channel. This is for American citizens only, and some permanent residents if they really care about keeping this country strong and safe. This is MAGA Nation. That's right. And don't you forget it. MAGA Nation, where all of my natives come together. Navajo, Cherokee, Choctaw, Blackfeather. We got Apaches, Comanches. But I'll say, you already know this. If you know me, I am sorry, guys. I'm sorry. My favorite, my most favorite, whom I have been more in touch with than anybody else, is my Navajo Nation people. I have so much connection with the Navajo people, and I love them so much. One day, I'm going to be able to have the means to do something for them. For today, all I can do is tell them that I love them, and I always pray for them. I love all my Native Americans, especially those who have learned to grow, who have become like me. I'm a Mayan descent, and I got Spaniard in my blood. And we know the atrocities of history. And we know that letting criminals come across the borders is the worst thing we can do. We need to make sure everybody is vetted. You know how people used to be vetted back in the day? If you came into somebody else's tribal land and you were not recognized, you will have an arrow through your face. That's how they vet you. That was the order back in the day. Now we check your papers. Now we make sure that we follow every immigration law. And if you are lucky, you may still become a resident with a big fine to pay. But it's important that we follow the law. Vetting could have saved hundreds of thousands of children and women from being trafficked, from being abused, from being pimped. All these ignorant fools that come and stand against me because of how I believe about immigration laws, fuck them. America first, doggone it. They think I don't know who they are. They think I don't know how they work. You fools coming in here into my channel and telling me that what to do, what to say. I know my people. As much as I love you, I got to tell you the truth. It is because I love you that I tell you to respect the law. It is because I love you that I tell you don't be here illegally. This is no game. This ain't no channel for no clicks. This is not a channel for views. There's a number of subscribers I want, sure, because we got all the things that we want to do with our communities. But I don't give a shit how many people are watching. What I care is about the quality and the type of people that are on my channel. If you care about having a safe nation, welcome. If you care about respecting the law and having order in your country, welcome. If you believe criminals should be free, get off my channel. This is not for you. This channel is for real American citizens. If you're an American citizen and you like to bend over and take it like a dumbass, this ain't the channel for you. Go take it somewhere else. Go watch your lefty, lying ass loser podcasters. Go give them your money, because you certainly ain't doing it here. So go over there and support them. I want American people on my channel. I want people that have common sense to join me. There is a lot of work to do in this country. And we'd be damned if we get all these illegal immigrants and retarded so-called Americans that believe that national security is of no importance. We don't care about you. Fuck you very much for coming to my channel. Now get the hell out. With that being said, we keep all over hundreds of thousands of children and women that are being raped and pimped and just all kinds of stuff being done to them because of dumbass illegal immigrants and those who sympathize with illegal immigrants. Unsecure borders will cause any country to be destroyed. Period. With that being said, why don't we go ahead and switch our focus over to Iran? Let's talk about the Middle East, because I got a bone to pick with these people. I'm telling you, I got a bone to pick. But before we get to Iran, why don't we start with this? Here is, let me see if I can make this any larger. Not too large because I want you to be able to read it, obviously. Now, I'm going to read it for you anyway, but still. Let's see if I can fit that in there. Now, this is Senator Patty Murray. She's from Washington State, where I'm from. She says, Trump doesn't care about how painful and expensive he is making your life. He promised no new wars and lower costs. He broke that promise and he doesn't care. Ready? We need to make sure absolutely everyone knows it. Oh boy, I'm telling you. BT, thank you, brother. Celebrate the Constitution and American culture. Absolutely. Here, let me tell you something. Check this out. Now, Senator Patty Murray, she's a white woman, a white socialist Karen, activist, by the way. She's an American citizen. I think she was born here, but this is a white woman that all races think this is an American because she's white. Watch this. I talked about immigrants that come here to work. and there is immigrants that come here and are settlers. I is what you will consider a settler. Patty Murray, who is supposed to be a natural birthright citizen, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. But she's white, so everybody will think she's an American, born here in the States. She is a equivalent to a migrant that comes to journey for money for money. As an immigrant that has come to this country legally, not one day have I been illegal in this country. Listen to the mentality between the white woman, who is an American, birthright American, and an immigrant who is lighter shade of brown. Listen to this. We watched the live yesterday where President Trump says, and I told you guys on the chat, remember this line, I love inflation. I told you, remember that. Well, today we're going to talk about it. And believe me, I want every migrant that has come to this country to be, I know you ain't going to like it if you're a libtard, like me. To be like me. Respect the law. Love this country. Don't become an American citizen unless you really believe what this country stands for and you really love this country. Let's go ahead and see what President Trump says. Now, this is the clip that Senator Patty Murray has put out there telling the people that President Trump loves to make you painful, likes to make pain for your life. This is the clip that she put out there, 26-second clip.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation.
You know, it couldn't be more clear. Trump doesn't care about how painful and expensive he's making your life. Can you share this video with some friends and family? He promised no new wars and lower costs. He broke that promise, and he doesn't care.
This dumb, white, liberal, Karen, activist garbage of what we call human is a senator for Washington State. Remember her dumbass face. What you don't know is she used to stand for something. She used to talk the way that I talk. She used to talk the way Trump talks. But now they have been greedy and power hungry. They will lie and do anything to stay in power. Garbage. Right there. Garbage. You see how they play you? You see how this socialist, Democrat, communists play you? The reason why President Trump says he loves inflation and that the numbers are beautiful and he loves it, it's because he knows that everything that they are saying right now, he's about to close this deal with Iran. One way or another, he's about to close this deal. They like to blame Trump for their incompetence. See, these are the weasels like those corrupted criminals who want to buy, let's say, prime property, prime real estate. But it's too expensive. So what they do is they bring a bunch of criminals and they vandalize the property. And they make it so difficult so that everybody wants to sell. And when they sell, they come in and bite cheap. And then they get rid of the criminals, and now the real estate is prime again, and the only people that benefit from it are the crooked, corrupted politicians like garbage Senator Patty Murray. They can call me whatever they want. That's fine. But the fact that she went like a lion slithering snake and said that statement, literally clipped what President Trump said live yesterday. It is the exact same thing that ABC did with President Trump's January 6th speech. They clipped it and edited so that it sounded like he was inciting violence on January 6th. But we're not stupid. We played the whole speech and we saw the truth. That what ABC and the legacy media kept playing over and over and over is not what President Trump said. Again, this channel is for Americans who care about the United States of America, who truly care about the rights of the people. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, I love my rights. I love my freedom. I love my liberties. I love the right to bear arms. I love my guns. And while I don't like what other people are doing, well, they have the same rights that I do. So I'm not going to infringe upon their rights. You see, that's what I stand for. Socialist Democrats of today, they're the opposite. And they talk about the freedom of speech. Now check this. With great power comes great responsibility. Freedom of speech does not give you the right to harass anybody. People on the left are probably coming over here and saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? Let me show you. I'm sure I can find it. Where is... let me see if I can find it. I love this kid. I love this kid. Come on. I love this kid. Okay, I'm going to have to search him. I just want to give you an example. Here, let's see. Let's see this one right here. This is Nick Shirley. You know, he's doing his freedom of the press. He's going out there interviewing people. And let's see what happens. So people can have conversations. That's fantastic. That is great. Everybody has the freedom of speech. I will get to a spot where you don't have the right to do. I'll get there, hopefully. Come on, man. Anyways, let's just say this. So he goes out and he is talking to people. That is his freedom. And then people can talk back or not talk back. That is the freedom. But when you come in and flipping somebody off and putting it right on their face, that is not a freedom that you have. You don't have the freedom to harass people. You don't have the freedom to be violent to other people. That is a huge difference. Let me just show you some of the pictures on the thumbnails. Just watch this. You see that guy? You see that guy right there pointing at his neck. He's going to shoot him, threatening his life. You have this other clip where the guy's flipping him off, invading his space. That is not his freedom. That is a permission to get your ass kicked. That's what that is. I guess that could be a freedom. You do not have the right to be violent. I love Dick Shirley. Courageous young man. You don't have the right to get in somebody's face. If you put your finger like this on my face, I'm going to break that finger. These so-called protesters putting their signs on people's faces when they're asking questions, that is assault. You do not have the freedom to harass people. Oh, Herman Vasquez, you flipping me off? This is how I flip you off. Get the hell out of here. No, you didn't hear what I said. The guy's flipping him off, that's fine. But putting it in his face, you are now harassing that person. Don't play stupid. You've seen the videos. You've seen the accusations. You've seen it. It doesn't matter. You're being disrespectful and you're going to get your ass kicked. You are inciting violence. You can flip whoever you want. That's fine. But you don't get the right to come and put it in their face. You don't get the right to come and shove them. You don't have the right to harass people, period. That is my point. And I think that police officers that stand by and see that and do nothing are just stupid. Well, the moment that you touch me, you're flipping me off and somehow your body rubbed on me, that's contact. So my advice would be keep your distance. Keep your distance. Don't come to them. You want to protest, do it from a safe distance. Do not come and provoke violence. The leftist mentality, this whole thing about being an activist, that's not cool. It's not funny, and there is no purpose. You steal the purpose of activists. You give them a bad name. Nobody likes activists. They have corrupted that word activist. Nobody likes you if you're an activist. If you are a concerned citizen and you want to protest, fantastic. I'm okay with that. Fantastic. Don't confuse your freedom of speech, your freedom of religion, your freedom to protest. Don't confuse them. I already talked on your freedom of speech. Don't harass people. I'm going to touch up on your freedom of religion. You can worship any God you want. We don't give a shit. But the moment that you are trying to impose a new law upon any person that is in this country, and you think that law needs to be applied because of your religious belief, hell no. You don't get to force any religious law on anybody. If it doesn't align with the American law, it doesn't exist, and we don't want it, and we reject it, and that will revoke your freedom of religion, because it no longer becomes a freedom of religion. You are a political movement for a certain kind of people. Number 3, you got the right to protest, to peacefully assemble. Peaceably assemble. You don't have the right to go block traffic. In a way, you do with permission. You don't have the right to obstruct federal agents. You have no right to impede any investigations. You are committing a felony by harboring felons, criminals. You're breaking the law by obstructing immigration law being enforced. As that great Secretary Mullen told us, just like all of us, if not most of us, all of us, can't believe that anybody in their right mind doesn't see anything wrong with illegal immigration. We can't believe that sanctuary cities are even possible. Why are sanctuary cities possible? We can't believe it. They're breaking the law. They're harboring fugitives. They're harboring illegal immigrants. Let me take you to my homepage. Let me take you to my homepage here. I have a few things that I've been wanting to share on my X account. And don't worry. Some people, sidetrack me a little bit, but we'll come back to the Iran thing. I think it's very important that we expose every bit of truth out there. I want to share this link.
A photo of Nithya Raman.
Check this out. This is Wes Austin. He's come through my feeds here lately. I like this guy. Check this out and tell me if any of this resonates with you.
A photo of Nithya Raman handing a check to a homeless center just disappeared. Thousands of homeless voters were registered to vote at LA shelters, even though many reportedly didn't live there, and some of the facilities did not even have beds. So they didn't have beds, but they did have ballots. That's not a shelter, that's a voter registration timeshare. According to reports, records show 7,600 voters tied to homeless shelters and service providers. One of them received a $600,000 taxpayer-funded grant awarded by Raman while she chaired the City Council's Housing and Homelessness Committee. And after inquiries were made, a photo of Raman presenting the check was taken down from the organization's website. Deleting a photo from the internet to hide a scandal is like trying to hide a fart in an elevator. We all know it was you.
We ain't lying. He ain't lying. You see what I'm saying? Common sense, man. It's not something that you have to make up. You don't have to make it up. There it is. And they took the photo down because it looks very bad, don't it? Oh, hold on. Celebrating a 250th anniversary. It's just lip turdation. Paul Salsi, that's why you're my favorite in here, bro. That is why you are my favorite. We all know it was you. You farted in the elevator. We know it was you. Now, again, illegal immigrants, like Finnish soccer men here, you can tell he's a legal immigrant. He don't speak English. Don't like us to tell the truth. They want us to not pay attention to any of these things. We saw videos. What's crazy is this? What's crazy is this? People on the left are always saying, show us proof. We show them a video. We show them a video of them harvesting ballots, paying homeless people to sign. They want signatures to look different. Of course they do. But they're paying them, and then they say, show us proof. And we're showing them the video. Even if I go in person, even when I testify of the things that illegal immigrants are doing, even though I'm an eyewitness and I testify of these things, they still say I'm lying. We're watching the video, and they still say those are lies. You can't make this up. It's too late. They can't deport me. They cannot deport me because I got my white privilege card right here. And I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. Man, let's go, America. The United States of America, greatest country in the world. And I will say this and sing it from the top of the mountains. I will die for this nation. Not for the libtards, for this nation. Don't just think that I'm going to jump off a bridge and just, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I will die defending this country. Don't test me. Here's another clip. Act Blue CEO Regina Valles Jones pleads the fifth. 3 times. When asked if she lied to Congress about accepting fraudulent donations. Let's take a look.
Fraud prevention policies and procedures. Ms. Wallace-Jones, in 2023, I sent you this letter with 5 straightforward questions with a goal of confirming that foreign funds are not in our elections and that Act Blue had adequate fraud prevention measures in place. You replied a month later with a 4-page letter describing your fraud prevention policies and procedures that you had in place at Act Blue. But according to the New York Times, your response to this committee may have been false and misleading. Ms. Wallace-Jones, when you signed this letter to me, did you believe that this letter was false and misleading?
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Ms. Wallace-Jones, before you sent this letter, did you believe, was it brought to your...
What she's saying is, yes, I lied. Do you know why we plead the fifth? Anybody? Anybody? Does anybody know why they always say that you can plead the fifth? Why do you think that is? Go ahead and put it on the chat. And I'm going to tell you why I have never plead the fifth. Everything that I say is the truth. And if I did anything of wrongdoing, I got to pay the consequences. Now, I will never admit to something that I didn't do. That's right, because they lie. I would never have to use the fifth. I just wouldn't. To not incriminate yourself, 100%. Shane, 100%. See, this is why I want only American people in my channel. People that really stand up for the law, for the justice of our system. Even though sometimes I don't like the justice system because I wanted to do my will, but the justice system is there, whether we like it or not, and that's what's keeping order. It's not perfect. But I want people that respect the law. Shane, I really thought that you had some common sense. My man, he don't play around, bro. I never plead the fifth again, because I never lie. And I want you, Shane, I don't know if he blocked you or removed your comment, but why don't you go ahead and, Shane, and go ahead and put it on the chat and tell me one thing that I have lied about. Go ahead. I won't hold my breath. But anywho, let's continue this. And let me rewind that a little bit. Look at her. Hella guilty. Hella guilty. Look at the way she says it. Come on. Look at the way she says it. Look at her face. Not the color. Look at the face that she's making. My attorney told me to plead the fifth. Like a good little girl. She is one evil bitch. Listen, look at this.
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
It is a right.
Ms. Wallace-Jones, before you sent this letter, did you believe, was it brought to your attention that this letter that you sent me was false and misleading?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Well, I think it's important for everybody here to know that according to the New York Times, you've been aware for quite a while that the response you made was likely false or misleading. Did you ever consider correcting the record for this committee when it was brought to your attention that your letter to me was false and misleading?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to the attorney-client privilege and my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
It's pretty interesting. So now you're following the advice of your legal counsel, but you didn't when they warned you that your letter to me was false and misleading.
Well, you can't make this up, man. Don't hate me for telling the truth. Tell you make your own assessment. She wrote those statements. That's her information. All she has to say is, yes, I wrote that document, but what you're saying is not true. She can say that. She's guilty as heck. She is guilty as heck. You can claim the fifth all you want. That doesn't mean that you go sky-free. Let me tell you that right now. That doesn't make you clean slate of anything. That just means that people are going to really have to work hard to get that evidence, and when they do, you will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. Here is a picture of what Democrats claim that they want back. If you don't know what this is the reflective pool with a green filter. Somebody removed the red and blue color and just left the green. This is what Democrats want. Let me tell you something. If we stop taking care of our country, Rush, babe, I want to say this. Sis, I love you so much. I really do. It's in my heart. I really mean this. You see how I had to cut it off. It's in my head. I love you very much, Rush, babe. I know your real name. People don't need to know. The way that you put facts and data and that you use your common sense, I just can't help but to love your intellectuality and your character. And I know what you go through. I know how hard you work. And I know your morality. And man, I admire you for that. I want you to know that. I can't wait to go and have a lunch or a meal with you. I really can't. It will be my honor. Thank you so much, Rush, babe. I love you, girl. Listen, socialist Democrats, the green, it is reflecting still, but this is what they want. And if we're just going to stop beautifying our country, if we're just going to stop taking care of our national security, if we're just going to stop defending this country, if we're going to stop investing everything that we can to secure the wealth and the prosperity of future generations in this country, simply because there is hunger or homelessness, we're going to become a third world country in no time. We cannot do that. We got to continue to beautify our capital, our country. We got to continue to protect our border. We got to continue to endorse and make sure that our military is taken care of. It's crazy. A lot of ungrateful, hateful Americans spit on the face of our Marines when they came back from Vietnam. The ungrateful people of this country who today claim that they love the military were the ones who were booing and trashing our Marines when they came back from Vietnam. Let me tell you something. If regardless of how bad Vietnam was, our Marines, our military, our armed forces never, ever, ever deserve that from us. Ever. I am glad that President Trump has changed this foolishness. There was so much algae. Yeah, the ducks were happy. Yeah, the animals were happy. They don't care about beautifying. But we do. I can't believe people complain about it. I can't believe it. Look at that. 2022. Not bad, not bad. 2026. Not bad. And it looks even better than that now, I believe. I believe it looks even better than that. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. Tell me, go ahead, Jay. Tell me, why am I stupid? Why am I stupid? Go ahead and tell me. Look at that. Huh? Why am I stupid? Look at that. Don't time him out. You can remove comment, but don't time him out. I want him to reply to my question. Go ahead and put it on there. Why am I stupid? Uh-oh. I can't believe that David Barber got actually blocked from me. Look at that. Who the hell wants that? The Ducks might want that, but we don't. Come on, man. You can't deny the truth. President Trump is doing an amazing job. And what drives me crazy is that Democrats, instead of fighting to help American people and this nation to become greater, they're fighting Trump every step on the way. And we're wasting billions of dollars fighting against Trump and fighting the enemy out and within and our own people. I don't know why anybody in their right mind would vote for Democrats. Now, I know why everybody in their wrong mind will or does, but I'm just saying, yeah, he came out with a stupid-ass comment. That's what happens. I'm sorry. It's just a reflex, you know what I'm saying? It's just a reflex. Nobody's safe. Nobody. And I mean nobody. You know what I'm saying? All right, maybe Rush Bay, but that's it. Everybody else, nobody's safe. I think I banned him completely too. I don't know, man. Let me I don't know what option I use. I clicked it too fast. My bad. All right, let's go to the next one. I think I have another one. That's not it. Look at that. That is atrocious. Look at that shit, man. How can that be America? Come on, man. We're better than that. Even Mexico has better places, better fountains and reflection pools than that. That's crazy. Oh, man. Let's go. Next one. Wait, this is the post still. Okay. This was nice.
I have you sign the OU hat when you say boomer suit. I'll do it.
These are the workers.
How is your football team? It's going to be great. Do they have a good quarterback? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you need a quarterback in this. I really appreciate it.
These are the people that worked on the reflection pool.
So the two teams are good? Now, Mr. President, if I have...
That's awesome, huh? Are lower taxes more important than trans rights? Yes. Oh, man, that was too easy. Where is my other, let's see. I had another one. No, that's me. All right, I'm going to share this old clip from Charlie Kirk. Check this out, man. This is why they got rid of him. Unfortunately. Check this out.
Because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times in the Constitution, it doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 9 out of 13 of the original states required you to be a Bible-believing Christian to serve in government at the time of the founding. All 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration of faith. Almost every single one of the original state constitutions, Pennsylvania included, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in the original state constitutions. You remember, we're a collection of states before that. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. So common law is inherited from Blackstone, who was Christian. A common law is an outgrowth of the scriptures. So let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles, wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, right before the most famous part of Leviticus 19, which is that you should love your neighbor as yourself. But before that is that in the administration of justice, you shall not favor the rich or the poor, which is the idea of blind justice. We get that in the West, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal: neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which we get the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas. They're not Enlightenment ideas, which is they kind of get conflated at the time. But more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal, okay? Laws of nature and nature's God. The last paragraph of the Declaration reads as a prayer. It says, we appeal to the supreme judge of the universe. Who's the judge of the universe? Jesus Christ. As it says in Revelation, that Jesus will judge the earth on his throne. So in the Declaration, they were praying to Christ our Lord as a prayer very specifically. Thirdly, as I said on the stage yesterday, Deuteronomy was by far the most quoted book, religious or non-religious, in the time of the founding when they were putting together the Constitution, more than John Locke, more than Montesquieu, more than Blackstone. So the book of Deuteronomy, which talked about laws, customs, traditions, it was Moses' farewell address as he's about to say goodbye, say, hey, good luck in Canaan, guys. Here's how you should set up your form of government. But finally, and most importantly, let's look at actually what the founders said. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian and was so Protestant that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
Our country was found on common.
Wow. I'm going to tell you, man, I wouldn't been able to keep up with them. That's why the left hated him so much. They couldn't beat him. And when they couldn't beat him, they hated him even more. Just as Jesus was hated by telling the truth. Just as we are hated by sharing the truth. They come in here saying we're lying, but they don't say about what. They don't know. See, even if we show them the truth, they will never believe us. Because they have been trained by Marxists. And the Marxists, they tell lies over and over and over until they themselves believe those lies. That is a fact. No way I could ever even say that I'm even close to being a Charlie Kirk. Never. Just, the guy was so smart. He is now immortal. He is now, as we speak, with God. He is no longer bound by timelines like we are in the flesh. He truly is in a better place. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into, I wanted to share some of those things that I had set aside on my...
Moments ago.
Hold on, essay. On my X account. But I want to go back and put my focus on Iran, on this conflict that's going on. But first, I would like to share a thought that I wrote down this morning. You know, Iran has been attacking neighbors and surrounding countries. And one of the things that I've noticed is that these countries, just like Democrats, right? Democrats lie about everything being Trump's fault and the administration. But just like that, instead of focusing the blame where it belongs, they choose Trump. This problem that we have in Iran. When Iran attacks Qatar, other Middle Eastern countries, the UK, everybody, every single socialist Democrat, they like to say If it wasn't for Trump, this wouldn't be happening. Well, well, well. This is how I know that these people have no common sense. Let me tell you something. Now, somebody found out back in my high school days. Somebody came over. Now, you have to understand, I never like fighting. I always walk away from fights until somebody lays their hands on me. Just like David Barber came in here and with a dumbass comment, boom, he got the boot right away. It's just a reflex. It's just a reflex. Somebody came on to me and decided to shove me. I turned around and broke his nose. Oh my God, that is so violent. Shut up. I picked him up and I said, what the hell is wrong with you? He said, Ryan did this to me and I know you're friends with him. And I said, what the hell? That was your logic? To come and shove me because I'm friends with him? You come and shove me? I said, what did you expect me to do? So, with that being said, coward nations get mad at the United States of America because Iran is attacking them. But instead of defending themselves, they blame the United States of America and say, this terrorist bully wouldn't have done this to us if you didn't stand up against him. The logic on that. If I was the Saudi prince, if I was Qatar, if I was any of those leaders in the Middle East, I would have broke his nose. And I would have said, I don't give a shit of what you have against the United States of America. You do not come into my house to cause me pain. You understand? I think it's time for these nations to stand up against this evil bully, terrorist, Islamic regime. And they, instead of complaining that the United States of America is poking the bear, they need to come together and kick some ass in Iran and say, I don't care what you don't like about them, you don't come and mess with me because I have nothing to do with that. Just because I'm friends with them does not mean that you have the right to threaten me. Does that make sense? Is anybody with me on this? Can anybody tell me, are you with me on this? Must be out of their minds. It's just like, okay, so I support President Trump. Okay, that's my prerogative. We won. Hey, Jose, how are you, brother? We won. We use democracy. Isn't that what the Democrats want? We want democracy. Democracy. Democracy is at stake. Well, we use democracy. We won. We won out of 4 years. Now shut the hell up and get out the way. I find it really hard to accept that it's okay for these nincompoops to come and start shit with us. They don't know us. As a matter of fact, I can make a bold statement right now and tell you that people that think the way that you patriots think and the way that I think is the reason why this country It's not a third world shithole country. And it's because we have been beating these lunatics on the left. We are a better country. If this country only had people like the people they have on the left, this country wouldn't be a country anymore. We will probably be speaking German or French, maybe Russian or Chinese. Libtards do not defend this country. Libtards are just leeches who are destroying this nation. Well, you are. I am sure that all of these countries, even though they're slow, maybe too late, like too late, Jerome, they will stand up and defend their nations and say exactly what I just said. I don't care what beef you have with the United States of America. You come and put fear in my country, we're going to put that fear right back in your ass. With that being said, here we go, Fox.
President Trump spoke out after the overnight airstrikes against Iran. He wrote this on Truth Social. The United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all other forms of defense, together with most of its offensive capability, are gone. We're going to hit them very hard tonight. At some point in the not-too-distant future, we will be taking Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets. Retired four-star General Jack Keane with me this morning. Is this it, General? Are we now beginning to finish the job?
Well, I think the president still wants to see if he can get a deal with these guys. And obviously, he's using leverage of military operations to try to achieve that end. And our operations have been limited. And what do I mean by that? We've gone after their air defense systems, which would be the first thing we would do in any event, and a lot of their radar systems, et cetera. But what we have not gone after is their offensive missiles, their drone inventory, and obviously their infrastructure. He's mentioned it, energy infrastructure, but industrial-based infrastructure. And we obviously have not gone into any of the organizations that sustain the regime, to include IRGC. And the Israelis are not involved. So major combat operations, what the president is talking about, and he did it today, and you're referencing it, he's willing to go there.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about that. And he's made a public statement to that fact. So this is, I think the public statement has also added leverage for him in terms of making the deal. Here's the issue I see with the deal. They went to a ceasefire on April the 8th, ostensibly because the Iranians said, hey, we'll open the straits in 2 weeks. Here we are 2 months, no straits open, despite the fact we are secretly moving, some modest amount of vessels through there. So here we are 2 months later, and what have they done in that 2 months? Violated the ceasefire time and time again. Fired at us, fired at U.S. bases, fired at our allies in the region, and unleashed the Hezbollah under a ceasefire to routinely, systematically, almost every day attack into northern Israel. That's their behavior. So I'm looking at this deal and saying to myself, even if they sign, as the president indicates, on a dotted line, won't they stall the implementation of that? And won't they cheat dealing with the implementation of that? And you're nodding yes.
Yes, they will.
And because we know it.
We expect them to.
Yeah, so I still think the preferred option here is to recognize who we're really dealing with here. And we're never going to make the perfect deal with these guys because they're not going to implement it. Let's get on with the 10 to 14 days that we need to finish them militarily. And yes, the president is focusing on what would cause economic collapse of the regime. Karg Island.
Yeah. He says, actually, he told Fox and Friends this morning, he said his preference has always been to take Karg Island, but he doesn't know if America has the stomach for it. What does that mean?
Well, he has two choices. You can destroy that distribution point. Right now, for our audience to understand, the blockade is shutting Karg Island down. That's their major distribution point. So blockade, no tankers can go in there and get anything because we stopped them from getting through the straits. So the president's choice is, does he destroy that infrastructure or does he take control of it? He would like to take control of it. And what he's thinking is the model that we have in Venezuela. We have taken control of Venezuelan oil.
Yep.
And how it's distributed and who gets it and who doesn't get it, the United States is making that decision in conjunction with the government. Here, I think the United States and the people would have no problem with it whatsoever, because it's only going to be temporary. It will force the collapse of this regime, and we'll have someone else to deal with like we have in Venezuela.
Would it force the collapse of the regime?
In time, yes.
If we control that oil and gas, just control it, it's ours.
They have no income whatsoever then, at that point. And listen, I'm talking about full-out military operations that go after, take away all the rest of their offensive weapons capability. You can't get every one of them, but get most of it all. And also go after all the organization that's sustaining the regime. Make that very, very weak. Make them vulnerable to the collapse of the regime. So militarily and economically, both things combined, we can force that collapse eventually in time, yes.
Do you think decapitating the Revolutionary Guards, killing them in their bunkers, you think that's in the cards?
We will do everything we can to, if we go back to major combat operations, to take the leadership down, just as we remember, we began the war doing that.
Yeah.
In conjunction with the Israelis. We've been sitting here for 2 months doing what on our side? Gathering intelligence. We know a lot about what they've been doing for these 2 months. We know where they've moved their ballistic missiles and their launchers to and other things. And obviously we know what their leaders are doing. What have their leaders done? They've done the same thing that they did with their missiles. They've dug deeper to get beyond our capability of our bombs. But yes, we can. It's not just the leaders, it's the infrastructure, the organizations that sustain them. And you start fracturing them and taking them apart, they don't trust each other. You know, the regime appears strong from the outside until it's not. And these things usually happen quickly. But when you're looking at it, it looks like they're going to be there forever. But it's usually not the case because they're crumbling inside and we can't see it.
Good. General, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, great talking to you.
Very important day.
I do want to listen to this one.
Welcome back. President Trump signed the long-stalled reconciliation budget package, fully funding ICE and Border Patrol. It is funded now through the end of his second term. It provides $38 billion for ICE, $26 billion for Border Patrol, and $5 billion for discretionary funding for DHS. Senate appropriators now signal.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What the hell are you talking about? Song what? Song word. KKK, slavery, MAGA, Nazis, all right-wing bullshit. Learn even a little. Is that right? Who is voting for Nazis? Democrats. Who is paying the KKK? Democrats. What the hell are you talking about? Get your head out of your ass and go do some research. Come back with some actual information and some knowledge of your... Why did I even try? Get the hell out of here, bro. Get your bullshit narrative out of this channel. We only want truth in here. At least give me some truth. Now, Will Cook, I'm going to address you for free since you EBT cards don't work here. I look at the activity of comments that you've been making, and they're all bullshit. I wish you knew what you're talking about. You obviously missed the millions of oil that we have been getting into our country. All the ships that have been going through in the middle of the night. You obviously missed that. You morons are not going to understand until everything is done. But until then, we have to continue telling the truth. And some people on the chat, we're just sick of your dumb-ass, retarded brains that don't know how to put 1 and 2 together. Stop it. Get some help. Go get a hot dog.
That a third reconciliation bill is unlikely. As House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith told me weeks ago, Senate Majority Leader John Thune also told me another reconciliation bill should not take away from what was accomplished in the big, beautiful bill, is how he said it when he joined me this week. Joining me now is Michigan Congressman Bill Huizenga. He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. So what do you think? I feel like the House is a lot more optimistic about a potential to do do something else before the midterms than the Senate is. But then again, I was just reading, there are only 16 legislative days left in the House before the August recess. So how can you get another bill done?
It's going to be tough and a heavy lift. And obviously, we in the House have a very, very narrow majority. So you get two people together and they can either push or stop virtually anything. So, you know, we got some things that we got to work through here. And then obviously, as you were talking about in the Senate, I would say they're even less optimistic about what the possibility is for a Reconciliation 3.0. But we know this, Maria. I mean, we've had zero help from our colleagues across the aisle. Zero. Right. And whether it was, you know, the quote unquote one big beautiful bill, that working families tax cut, or as we were seeing with ICE and CBP funding. And we could expect the exact same thing when it comes to defense spending, which would be one of the focuses of a Reconciliation 3.0. But there's a lot of work to do yet. It's frustrating for people like myself that, you know, there just isn't a willingness to move further faster.
Yeah, and then there's FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. FISA is set to expire tomorrow. The president is urging Congress to pass a short-term extension, but Republicans may need Democrat support to get this done. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries already said he will not support an extension as long as Bill Pulte remains the president's choice for acting director of national intelligence. Here's the president calling out the Democrats yesterday. Watch this.
We need their votes. We can't let them extort us. I told the guys today, we can't let them. They did. They've done it on numerous occasions. I said we can't. What we're signing today has been amazing, but they tried to extort us, and eventually, and they were losing tremendous support because they're extorting on law and order.
Congressman, I mean, so much pushback from the Democrats because they're trying to upend President Trump's agenda. And now their problem is Bill Pulte. Hakeem Jeffries saying he's not going to extend FISA and support that unless Bill Pulte's nomination is withdrawn as acting DNI. I asked John Thune about it this week. Here's what he said. Watch.
Well, that's an irresponsible position on behalf of the Democrats. Another irresponsible position, and it goes along with open borders, defund the police, sanctuary cities. Now we're going to defund the intelligence gathering capability that has been responsible for 90% of the drug busts that we've had and has prevented terrorist attacks. It is a tool. It's a national security tool. It needs to be reauthorized. The Democrats have indicated, we moved to proceed to it last week. They block voted against it. We've got to take care of the business of national security. If we don't get that right, the rest is conversation. And the Democrats right now are dug in over this Pulte issue, and it's an irresponsible position to take.
Why are they so dug in, Senator?
Well, I mean, I think they view him as part of, quote, weaponization at the housing agencies, and are at least fearful, or they're saying that they think he'll do this in the intelligence world. These things are totally unrelated. Reauthorizing, if you're worried about the management of the DNI, what you want is guardrails around whoever is in there. This bill does that.
But I feel like they are always the loudest in the room. I mean, this whole idea of the Democrats bringing up weaponization, to me as an observer from the outside, is so rich because I watched what took place in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and that is trying to take down a sitting president. How come I don't hear Republicans complaining about that kind of weaponization?
When we do, it doesn't get picked up, obviously, as much. It's partly what the media decides to cover. The Democrats are, obviously, they're vocal. The minority party has the luxury of being able to throw grenades and throw bombs. And, you know, obviously we have the responsibility of trying to govern and work with the president to get things done.
So, Congressman, what about that? Do you see support broadly within the Republicans for the president and the president's agenda? I mean, they're even trying to clip his wings on this war while we're in the middle of a war. Of course, the U.S. military launched multiple strikes on Iran for the second night in a row last night, targeting Tehran's military surveillance capabilities, communication systems, and air defense sites in response to the Iranians shooting down an American Apache helicopter over the strait.
Yeah, well, Maria, what struck me was I was thinking exactly what you vocalized, which is this is rich that the Democrats are complaining about weaponization of government or the fear of that. We saw tangible weaponization, and then you have this situation where they're suddenly clutching their pearls, saying, "Oh no, we can't have anyone that would come in and actually say no to expansion of government," is really what their concern is. But look, I think the Democrats are going to be short-sighted about this every time that they possibly can be, because it is all about stymieing President Trump and an agenda. And it doesn't matter whether it's ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, doesn't matter whether it's Department of Defense, doesn't matter whether it's this, where we can't afford to have a FISA program go dark, but they're willing to literally put our nation's security at risk, all for a political end. And that's really the sad part.
Well, that's unbelievable. All right, Congressman, congrats on winning the congressional baseball game last night, defeating Democrats 11-2. That victory marks the 6th straight win for the GOP.
Let me make something very clear. It's very difficult to distinguish the legitimate concerns from you American people from those who are always trolling to distract or to promote hate. You gotta, I want to show you a clip from Mr. Wesley Hunt, which, by the way, one of my favorites representatives. Check out this clip where they try to bait him with some sort of a racist agenda here, and just listen to how he actually responds.
Be any black Republican members in the new term. What do you make of that?
Nothing. I don't understand how that's relevant. I'm not here because I'm black. I am here because I'm qualified representative for Congressional District 38, and the American people choose who they want to choose. And the one thing I don't want to get into is this game of race bait all day, every day. If there's 4, if there's 10, if there's none, what we are talking about is who is the best person that is best qualified to fill a seat, regardless of the way that they look. And I tell people this all the time till I am blue in the face. I represent a white majority district that President Trump would have won by over 20 points, and I won by 25 points the last time I ran. I'm being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. I don't care how many black people are here. I want the most qualified people that are here.
Oh, there will.
Boom. Truth. That's truth. Now, there is a lot of people on the left side that keep telling other white people, that keep telling other black people, that keep telling all Americans, they keep telling all Americans that they are racist and prejudiced because they're not migrants. Well, here is a migrant who did everything the right way. Why? Because my mother did everything the right way. She migrated to this country, waited 5 years to be able to come and visit this country, waited another 5 years before she came and got me. And then I waited 2.5 decades to become an American citizen. Now, this is my white privilege card. That is 35 years in the making. Can you believe that? And I still believe that it's worth every single day of it. Some entitled Americans bitch and complain about having a voter ID. I just paid $100 to be able to tour Pearl Harbor. $100. I just paid $117 in gas to fill up my Guzzler. I just spent thousands of dollars paying bills, doing this, doing that. Illegal immigrants pay tens and thousands of dollars. Hey, Bernil, how are you, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Illegal immigrants sell their houses and properties. Think about this. They do all this sacrifice. They go through all the troubles. Even they're illegal. I still give them their props because they sacrifice everything to be in this country. And Americans don't even want to make sure that our elections are secured and legitimate. You can spend anywhere between $10 to $150 for a white privilege card. I want to go spend $100 so that I can get a license that says I am a citizen. Why wouldn't Americans want that? It's to protect our election integrity. You know, the leftist Democrats, they keep saying, give us proof that somebody is cheating. And we're like, okay, what other proof do you need? They get mad at us for asking for ID to be able to vote. And the only requirement that they have is a membership gym card or a debit card is ID. That's not ID. Your state ID is called a legal form of ID. Your bank card is not a legal form of ID. Your gym membership is not a legal form of ID. And by the way, if you can get a debit card, how did you get a debit card with no ID? Make that make sense. You see what I'm saying? We don't talk bullshit on this show. We talk the truth. We speak common sense. This is why I always say I want Americans only on my channel. I don't want illegal immigrants on my channel. Even to get a library card, you need your ID. You gotta show ID. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. How did you get a debit card without an ID? How did you get a membership at the gym without an ID? How do you buy alcohol? How do you buy smokes? How do you buy a car? How do you get a house? How do you get rent? How do you rent an apartment? Everything. 2 to 3 forms of ID. Passport, license, ID, birth certificate, something. You see what I'm saying? Dennis, everywhere I go, they all ask for driver's license. Absolutely, Jose. Absolutely. I know you missed that word in there, but I do the same thing when I type, so it's all good, brother. I got you. Listen, we have a lot of issues, okay? And the only thing that I ask of Americans is, listen, be patient. Wesley Hunt, the black man, he's been black all his life. I think he's been black all his life, right? Well, I've been Hispanic all my life. But just because, just because I want to be here doesn't mean that I get to be here. I got to do it the right way. Bernie came in here a little bit, right? He came by and say hello. He stopped by to say hello. Bernie has a couple of businesses. Bernie has to show ID, license, registration, got to buy insurance. He's got to have a social security number or tax ID, some sort of identification for him to do his business. It is the way that this country works. We're not in a third world country. We're not back in the 40s, 30s, 1800s. We're not in those times. Everybody has access to everything. For Pete's sakes, Americans have everybody in their school. They have a Chromebook. They give their students a laptop. There is money. There is technology. Don't tell me you cannot get an ID. Why is it that only Democratic states refuse to show their voter rolls? It's a mystery, isn't it? It is a mystery. Why? Why is it that only Democrat states refuse to impose or enforce ID to vote? You need an ID for everything. Why not ID to do the most important thing that a citizen has to do than voting? It's crazy, right? I can't be the only one. Now, if you just came into my show, you guys missed the briefing from Secretary Mullen and Attorney General, acting Attorney General Blanch, about the 450,000 children, innocent children, that have been raped multiple times, women that have been pimped, drug dealers coming across the border, criminals. 50% of the crime that was caused down in California was by illegal immigrants. Unbelievable. Exactly, Victor. There's a lot of fake IDs out there. I'm going to tell you, illegal immigrants have less excuses than American citizens. American citizens, if they really are the Americans complaining, American citizens make an excuse that they have to go spend $10 to $20 for a new license, when illegal immigrants are paying a couple $100 for a fake ID or a fake license. Let that sink in there for a little bit. Just let it marinate for a little bit. It is crazy to think that Americans would really believe the lie that asking for a voter ID is Jim Crow 2.0. Mr. Hunt debunked this on one of the hearings. It's not Jim Crow 2.0, but if you want to go to Jim Crow 2.0, blame that on the Democrats. The Democrats have been supporting groups like Black Lives Matter, a racist organization who has been scamming the taxpayer dollars and donations for themselves. They don't even help the American community, the black community. You like how I said that? It's automatic for me. Whether I think for blacks or whites or brown, I always think American citizens. Every single shade of color. If you're an American citizen, you're an American citizen. You are not a color. I hate that, man, when people do that. Hate it when people do that. You need ID to buy cerveza. That's a good one, John. I appreciate that, Jonah. Jonathan. All right, you guys want to be able to call in? Let's see. Who wants to call in? Let me see some ones on the chat, and I'll let you guys call in. But first, let me torture all these conservatives with a little clip from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who calls Trump a traitor for the Epstein files handling. Let's take a listen. Woo. We all need a little bit of torture sometimes. Here we go.
There's also a new report out today, an extensive report that's in the New York Times, and it's based on Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan's upcoming new book that's about to be published called Regime Change. And they write in this new report today about how the release of the Epstein files, debating over how to handle Jeffrey Epstein, basically paralyzed the White House. And there were meetings in the Situation Room even where obviously, of the utmost national security concern, meetings pertaining to that happened. When you read that and you hear that the president's team, the vice president, the chief of staff, everyone's meeting inside the sit room about Jeffrey Epstein, what does it tell you about how they viewed that story?
Well, unfortunately, that's not new news to me. Unfortunately, that was something that I lived through. I watched the Speaker of the House shut down the government and keep the House completely out of session for 8 weeks in the fall of 2025, simply because he was under orders of the president and his team not to do anything in the House of Representatives because they were doing everything they could do to stop that resolution from passing the House.
Somebody should, hey, listen, to all the females out there, I don't want you to be offended, but somebody should tell Marjorie Taylor Greene to put some of that makeup on that neck and that chest. You see how Caitlyn, she learned that lesson. She puts the makeup all the way down to her chest. That's the way that it should work. You can't see the difference. Huge. And if you're not willing, right, sometimes, if you're not willing to cover your chest, put some damn makeup on it. Hey, all in or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Same resolution that I signed the discharge petition to force to a vote on the floor. I'm not surprised by this news, Caitlin, because I also had a very uncomfortable phone call with the president before the release of the Epstein files, where he told me that his friends would get hurt if the files were released, and I'll never forget that. I'll also never forget the text message he sent me when I told him that my son's life was being threatened because he was calling me a traitor because I fought to release the Epstein files, where he told me that I deserved it. And so this doesn't shock me that his team was...
All right, check this out. I want you to understand something. Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene says that people begin to be violent against her and her family, right? Think about it. This is how I know she switched to the left. This is how I know she switched. So she's saying that has caused violence towards her and her family. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene says. But now she is calling Trump a traitor. Yeah, you know, this for that, right? Tell me, when people come into my channel and tell me that I'm not a Christian, and they treat me in the worst possible manner, how can I even accept their comments or their judgment on me being a Christian? Democrats have the mentality of a little rat. They're not that bright, but they do know how to do some things. Democrats went on a rampage against President Donald Trump and all of us, weaponizing the government, the FBI, the CIA. They weaponize everything in the government against President Trump and the administration and his family. And they are caught doing those things themselves. But now they want to complain about weaponizing the government? Very hypocritical, if you ask me. Thank you. I don't need acknowledgement from anybody to say that I'm a Christian. I know my faith. No offense for those of you who love me, know me, and support me. I don't need anybody's approval for my salvation. What I need is Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And that is the only thing that can give me salvation. He is the only way, the only truth, and He is my life. I deny myself so that He may be. It is a choice that God has given me. So, no, I'm not the kind of Christian you want, because the kind of Christian that you want is the one that you can take advantage of. And you know what, Satan? I know who you are. And that just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Not with me, sucker. Not with me. With that being said, man, God bless every single one of you out there who are actually trying to live a good life and that actually believe in Jesus Christ, because He is the only salvation. He's the only person that can actually save your soul. It doesn't matter what happens to our flesh. It doesn't matter what happens to our body. It matters what happens to our soul. Amen to that. Thank you, guys.
Paralyzed, but I tell you what it is, it's absolutely ridiculous and unforgivable. We're talking about pedophiles and rapists of the elite class of people that never get held accountable for anything. So
450,000 children. 450,000 children that we know of have been smuggled through the border thanks to Democrat policies. Marjorie Taylor Greene would like you to believe that she wants justice with the Epstein files. Come on. That shit is old. If you really still think that that's going to bring justice, you are so wrong. I say continue investigating. It's okay. But to focus 100% of your effort on the Epstein files is the stupidest thing that you can do. What have you done, Marjorie Taylor Greene, to secure the border? Nothing. Trump did that. You care about victims